The strongest storm on the planet has just hit us. We've been hit bad, and so many are still suffering. All of us in this video come from areas devastated by the storm, but our spirits remain the same. And we are grateful that help from all over the world is on its way. Thank you for sending your love and support to our corner of the globe. This is our SOS to the world. With it, we are sending our love from the Philippine Islands to all of you out there. On this planet, we all call home.
This is probably one of the top 12, so the top dozen of all storms ever seen on this planet.
The scale of the destruction is beyond their experience. Officials say this is the Philippines' worst ever natural disaster. It wasn't just the record-breaking 175-mile-an-hour wind which ripped buildings apart. It was the surge of seawater it whipped up, which swept ashore and flattened almost everything in its path.
Number 1 early morning news.
We begin with the growing desperation and devastation following the super typhoon in the Philippines.
It hasn't been a good year for the Philippines. Look at all of the storms that have crossed that nation. It has been ugly out there, and this is the biggest one of the year so far.
There is very little people to do about what is concerns right now. For the most part, they're fending for themselves in a city that's been torn apart. Wayne Hay, Al Jazeera,
The light in me still burns bright, even
this crisis has presented for the Philippines. It's a nation that's made up of a collection of islands spread out across hundreds of miles. I'm on the edge of the airport here, the main airport in Manila, the capital, and this is a kind of makeshift distribution centre. And all day, volunteers have been turning up. There are people who are firefighters in their downtime, there are churches, and there are even some school children here who've come to volunteer today.
More than 670,000 people have been displaced by the disaster with no access to food, water, or medical supplies.
I did visit my house. It's totally gone. Nothing there. All your possessions, everything. This is what we have. What we're wearing is nothing.
to make history to end in this
フィリピンで被災した子どもたちのために募金してくださった方、ありがとうございました。3日間お昼休みだけの短い時間でしたが、皆さんのご協力のおかげで48,399円のお金をいただきました。本当にありがとうございました。
To understand that the people here show some, and just a few, some violent actions because they're hungry, because they're thirsty. It's not because they want to harm anybody.
More pictures have emerged of the terrifying onslaught of Typhoon Yolanda as it ripped through a beach resort in Tacloban on Friday with winds gusting at nearly 200 miles an hour. Some water and food supplies arrived at Tacloban airport today, but the amount is tiny compared to the vast unmet need. The scale of the disaster has shocked aid organisations.
People were expecting a typhoon and they got the equivalent of a typhoon this year. They weren't expecting this at all. We don't know how many people.
The international aid teams are facing massive challenges. The Philippines comprises more than 7,000 islands, 2,000 of them inhabited. As Typhoon Yolanda swept westward, it caused devastating damage across a huge area. The island provinces of Samar and Leyte being worst hit. Bridges have collapsed, roads have blocked, and phone networks down. This was the 25th typhoon to affect the region this year, and more may be on the way. Nearly 10 million people need urgent aid and more than 600,000 are homeless. The number needing medical help is unknown. An emergency surgical team from Britain are flying out tomorrow.
Our principal focus will be on untreated open wounds that are now at risk of becoming infected, and they are not treated by appropriate surgery and by appropriate medical intervention. These become septic and patient lives.
the first British aid flight loaded with tents landed this evening at Cebu Airport, but bad weather has meant many other planes are grounded. Help's also coming by sea. The Royal Navy destroyer HMS Daring is en route from Singapore. It should arrive on the 16th, and an American flotilla is sailing from Hong Kong.
I've got boats, I've got a helicopter. I can get these items into the more remote communities and ensure that they've got firstly water as well as help them with provision of electricity restoration. I can make water on board myself.
£25 will buy water purification tablets for 10 families.
An appeal by the Disasters Emergency Committee raised £1.5 million in the first few hours. Much more is needed, and rebuilding the shattered communities of the Philippines will take years. Fergus Walsh, BBC News.
U.S. Marines in the Philippines providing search and rescue assistance and bringing supplies to a country that desperately needs so much of everything.
ורבותיי, חברי המשלחת, מדבר הקברניט, אני מאחל לכם הצלחה בתפקידכם, בשתת עזרה לעם הפיליפיני אחרי הטרגדיה שהם עברו. כל עיני העולם נשואות אליכם.
We don't have homes. We need shelter, food, light. We don't have food. We don't have everything. We don't have houses.
Aircraft are bringing in some supplies. Soldiers are carrying injured residents to planes, along with the elderly, evacuating them from what looks like a war zone. But it's not enough. The suffering is on a massive scale. The super typhoon turning life into misery for 4 million people. Some have the grim job of recovering the bodies of countless victims. The death toll is expected to be in the many thousands, but amidst a tide of human suffering, a ray of hope.
Across huge expanses of the Philippines, there is nothing left but rubble and desperation. You can see it from the air and feel it and smell it on the ground. Survivors walk past the ruins of their homes and lives, focused on one thing, finding food. The water-soaked wreckage crunching beneath their feet as they scrounge for scraps.
Get international help to come here, now. Not tomorrow, now. This is really, really like bad, worse than hell. Worse than hell.
US Marines are on the ground. Relief operations are underway. But food, clean water and medical supplies can't come fast enough. This airfield in Cebu has become the staging ground for the country's biggest relief operation.
There is a real sense of desperation here on the ground. While the focus is obviously on the sick, getting the injured, getting them to safety. The people of this hard-hit island. The problem facing authorities is logistics, getting these supplies to these hard-hit and remote areas and to the people who need it.
So many roads are impassable, clogged with debris and littered with bodies.
Super Typhoon Haiyan, a brutal storm bringing ferocious winds and rain to the Philippines. Everyone was heading for safety, but where was that during a storm where winds reached 195 miles per hour? Tacloban City on Leyte Island bore the brunt, with people reporting a wall of water up to their neck.
But this thing is equivalent to an EF5 tornado. Over 200-mile-an-hour winds. Only this one is 50 miles wide. That is what is steamrolling across the central Philippines. Sustained winds as of Thursday night, 195, gust to 235. Central pressure less than 880 millibars. That's under 26 inches of mercury. I've never seen that before.
A first-hand look at just how dire that situation is. I spoke earlier to Richard Gordon, chairman of the Red Cross in the Philippines, about the desperate need for emergency supplies.
Food, a little bit of temporary shelters, and of course water. Food items for 25,000 people, as well as 10,000 tins of ready-to-eat meals. So slowly but surely we're getting in, and we're also clearing the path, we're clearing the area of debris so that our people can go in. The government is also there. We're doing everything we can to get to the victims very, very fast. And I think the international community is beginning to help out.
Churchgoers seen here in Sacramento and across the country are scrambling to send money and supplies to help the countless victims of the typhoon. Many of them still trying to reach friends and family in the hardest hit areas of the Philippines.
A lot of people were dead. Our friends are dead. Some of our family members are dead. So it's really devastating.
I am the only survivor of the family, and I want to know them if they are still alive.
As the death toll grows by the day, families are desperately searching for loved ones who may be lost forever, swept away by one of the most powerful storms ever to strike the planet.
A tornado just passed us, and the tornado lasted for 4 hours. At first, it was the ceilings that went off, and then the roofs just started to fly in all directions.
So it's a 15 to 25-foot wave came across entire villages, and so everything's wiped out.
In the midst of all this death and destruction, a baby girl was born at a makeshift clinic at the Tacloban airport. Her mother swam to stay alive when the storm hit, delivering a new life and a glimmer of hope.
The Philippine government has declared a state of national calamity following one of the biggest storms ever recorded. The UN says 10,000 people are feared dead in one city alone.
It's impossible to know how many people have been killed. 10,000 may be a conservative estimate.
We saw dozens of bodies rotting by the roadside 3 days after the typhoon struck, and nobody to bury them.
People walk, they pass many bodies on the side of the road. In places, the stench is becoming unbearable. Removing the bodies is a slow process. Those that have been collected are taken to a makeshift morgue where local officials attempt to identify them, after which they're being taken to mass graves.
In the streets of Tacloban, 4 days after Typhoon Haiyan, one of the most powerful storms ever recorded, the extent of the damage is still being assessed.
Would always stay the same. I wish we could be laughing. Instead I'm standing here asking, do we have to end this now? Can we make it last somehow? We both know what we gotta say, not today, 'cause I don't wanna leave this way. Don't say goodbye.
Typhoon Haiyan affected about 10 million people and may have killed 10,000. Sandy Kozel, The Associated Press.
The UN has said up to 10,000 people may have died, like Dennis, who lost his sister, amongst the many who still buried their loved ones.
Tacloban has been flattened.
Don't say goodbye, 'cause I don't wanna hear those words tonight. 'Cause maybe it's not the end for you and I. And although we knew this time would come for me and you, don't say anything tonight. If you're gonna say
I think God was somewhere else when the typhoon hit.
Nang dahil sa trahedyang idinulot ni Super Typhoon Yolanda, nararamdaman ngayon ng Pilipinas ang pagmamahal sa atin ng iba't ibang mga bansa at organisasyon sa buong mundo. We are so well loved by the whole world, ika nga. Sa Giwan Eastern Samar, kung saan po ako nanggaling kahapon, marami akong dayuhang nakitang tumutulong. Mga volunteer aid worker, mga doktor, mga sundalo mula sa Amerika, maging sa France, sa Sweden, Germany, Spain at marami pang ibang mga bansa. Nakakatuwa silang makita, pursigido sa ating tumulong. Kahit sa Tacloban City at sa iba pang mga lugar na nasalanta, maraming mga dayuhan ngayong umaalalay. At sinong makakalimot sa dalawang batang nagtinda pa ng lemonade para makalikom ng pera para sa mga biktima ni Yolanda? Pati sa mga celebrity nakikiisa po sa atin. Ang basketballistang si Pau Gasol, sa bawat puntos daw na kanyang mai-score sa kanyang laro, tutumbasan niya ng $1,000 na donasyon para sa mga biktima. Sina David at Victoria Beckham, ititinda ang kanilang mga gamit para makalikom din ang pondong idodonate nila sa atin. Lahat ng ito, bukod pa sa cash at in-kind na donations mula sa dayuhang mga gobyerno at asosasyon. Napakarami ang sa atin tumutulong ngayon. Marahil ang pinakamagandang maisusukli natin sa kanilang pagmamalasakit sa atin ang siguruhing makabangon ng maayos ang mga nasalanta at magamit sa tamang paraan ang mga donasyon.
It's not a good idea for me to be here anymore. The fewer people that are here, the easier relief will be. And I gotta go tell my family I'm alive, and there's no communication here at all.
And the devastation is staggering. I struggle to find words even for the images that we see on the news coverage. And I struggle to find words to describe how I feel about the losses. Up to this hour, I agonize, waiting for word to the fate of my very own relatives.
Nothing could have prepared them for what they have just been through.
But you're so far away, starving for your attention. You don't even know my name. You're going through so much, but I know that I could be the one to hold you every single day. I find it hard to say I could be yours alone. You will see someday that all along the way I was yours to hold. I was yours to hold. I see you walking by, your hair always out in your face. I wonder why you've been hurting. I wish I had some way to say.
And in the area of child protection, because we're very concerned about separated unaccompanied children. We will also be looking to
Could be the one to hold you every single day. I find it hard to say I could be yours alone. You will see someday that all along the way I was yours to hold. I was yours to hold. I'm
acute care, a wheelchair. We have some for dialysis. We have children. We have one with fractured arm. Because the hospital here shut down.
But you're just out of reach. I'm ready when you're ready for me.
Nakakaantig po ng damdamin ang pagmamalasakit ng mga katutubong Aita sa Pampanga sa mga kababayan nating nasalanta ng bagyong Yolanda. Bagamat hindi nakakariwasa sa buhay, ibinahagi nila ang inipon nilang pagkain at barya. Lalo't minsan din daw silang tinulungan ng mga kapwa Pilipino na makabangon mula sa pagsabog noon ng Mount Pinatubo.
Ang mga Aita ng Pampanga ang isa sa pinakamahirap na tribo sa Pilipinas. Lalo pa silang nalugmok nang pumutok ang Mount Pinatubo noong 1991. Pagtatanim sa bundok ang pangunahin nilang ikinabubuhay ngayon. Pero gaano man sila kahirap sa salapi, mayaman sila sa malasakit. Sa Katutubo Village sa Porac, Pampanga, sako-sako ng gabi, saging at papaya ang inipon ng mga Aita para sa mga biktima ng bagyong Yolanda.
Kasi po yung dati po tinutulungan po nila po kami. Oo. Tapos kami na naman po magtutulong sa kanila po.
Ito po, pag halimbawa wala kang bigas, kahit ilaga mo lang ito na hilaw, makakaraos ka.
Gustuhin man daw nilang magbigay ng pera, sadyang kapos sila. Kaya, mga produkto mula sa bundok ang naisipan nilang ibigay.
So itong mga nandito ngayon na mga gulay tsaka mga prutas, ito yung 1 week na harvest. Dapat kakainin ito ngayon ng mga Aita para sa kanilang pamilya. Pero ang desisyon nila, ibibigay na lang ito dun sa mga biktima ng bagyong Yolanda.
Kami rito, nadanasan namin yung ganyan nung pumutok ang bulkan eh.
Tapos?
Tinulungan kami. Kaya kami rin gusto namin tumulong sa kapwa namin.
Baka wala pong makain yung pamilya ninyo, sir?
Hindi po. Dahil yun po para sa nasalanta ng bagyo yun. Kasi kahit na kailangan namin, mas kailangan nila.
Samantala, sa komunidad ng mga katutubo sa Barangay San Ramon, Florida Blanca, Pampanga, barya-baryang tulong naman ang inipon ng mga Aita roon. Inilagay nila ang mga naipong pera sa 2 kawayang alkansya, isa mula sa mga magulang at isa mula sa kabataan.
Nagtulong-tulong po kaming mga estudyante para po makalikom ng pera, para po, kasi po nakikita po namin sa TV na nahihirapan din po yung mga kabayan natin sa Leyte. Kaya po naisipan po namin maglikom ng pera.
Batid nilang napakaliit ng kanilang naipon kumpara sa ibinibigay na donasyon ng malalaking kumpanya. Pero tulad nga ng turo ng Panginoon, walang malaki o maliit sa ngalan ng malasakit.
Kahit po medyo payak yung pamumuhay ng mga Aita, pero sa tulungan po, maaasahan po, may puso pa rin po.
Many of those who survived, priority now is to get out of the disaster zone.
Have I done any good in this world today? Have I helped anyone in need? Have I cheered out the sad, made someone feel glad? If not, I have failed indeed. Has anyone's burden been lighted today? Because I was
from here in Kuala Lumpur, the International Federation is mobilizing relief supplies. That's basically non-food items, water bladders so that water can be supplied. Water tanks will be sent from here to Manila in the next few days. From Dubai, we're coordinating other supplies, hygiene kits, which are very important, very basic things like soap and toothpaste and diapers, etc. for families. And basically coordinating our response. Basically, we are supporting the Philippines Red Cross and its activities. So we have on standby. We have experts in health and logistics and in all manner of relief operations. And when those are needed, we send them in. And as we speak, as I said, many of those people are on their way.
Filipino community organizations across the U.S. are also organizing relief and helping people contact relatives.
As we hear more and more news through our extended family and our friends, we realize really how many people that we know are involved and how close to home it is.
UNICEF will be part of the process of rebuilding the Philippines, to build back better, so that whatever has been destroyed by the tempest, whatever has been destroyed by the hurricane, is not a symbol of defeat, but in fact is a symbol of what we can do with the human spirit. While the U.S. government is providing $20 million in immediate aid, relief organizations are calling for donations. Heart to Heart International has a warehouse full of supplies it says it will send as soon as crews in the Philippines are ready to receive them.
Aid workers from Belgium inspect supplies before they're shipped out to Tacloban, one of the most severely devastated towns. Now, 5 days after a deadly typhoon tore through parts of the Philippines, aid has been slowly trickling into the region from around the world. From Belgium to Indonesia, countries are offering aid and support to the Philippines, where the scale of the disaster has overwhelmed the government there.
The place is flat. Access is extremely difficult. And we now have rising concerns very quickly about shelter, about food, about clean water and sanitation, and about disease outbreaks. As we speak, to get those supplies from
Logistical problems, including blocked roads and inoperable airports, are making the aid delivery difficult.
One of the worst
endures 24 typhoons every year, the scale of the destruction is beyond their experience. Officials say this is the Philippines' worst ever natural disaster.
But I've never seen anything like Super Typhoon Haiyan. Here's what it looked like late evening on Thursday. The size and intensity of this storm, unprecedented. Here are some of the population centers, the regions in the central Philippines that are going to be just devastated here in the coming hours. The strongest storm of the year by far, one of the most intense typhoons ever observed on the face of the earth. Sustained winds 195, gusts to 235. It's the third Category 5 typhoon to hit the Philippines since 2010. Last year, Boca struck December 3rd, killing over 1,000 Filipinos, damaged close to $2 billion, and Haiyan, which is locally called Yolanda, maybe even worse. It's certainly a much more intense storm.
Typhoons